Hi guys, how y'all doing? Looks like I'm gonna be doing the rest of the build solo. This next part of the video is going to be the optional rear aluminum hubs. There's a lot of bits and pieces to this. We've got our own thing on Discord to where you can get this install sheet and setup sheet. I'm just going to go over this right quick, and I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to build one. That way I don't look like a total fool on the showing you guys how to do one. So I'm going to build one and then come back in and explain what I did and why I did it and show y'all how to build the other one. So and go down and I'll show y'all this page here. This is all that's included in the kit. You got your aluminum hub. We've got some inserts that'll adjust our hub height. We got different kinds of arm setups here. This is what it's going to look like when it's put together. We've got spacers and shims inside here so we can set how far out it sets beyond just our normal settings and how high it is. So I'm probably going to do mine on, I've already looked through this, so it looks like I'm probably going to do mine on like a medium setup. So this is sort of how it goes together. We've got our hub inserts. Like I said, I'm going to be on a medium, so you can see the insert in the bottom of the hub, the plastic insert right here. I'm going to have that set a centered one. We could set it up for long, short, and we'll be able to set our, between this and our arm inserts, we'll be able to set our toe for the rear. This shows the hub comparison between the plastic hub that comes with the standard cars and the CNC hub, which is the one I'm assembling here. Just kind of shows you kind of side by side what the whole alignment looks like versus the aluminum one. Tells you here that the three-piece hub's 2 millimeters narrower. Add 1 millimeter extra shim in front of the hub to match the position of the plastic hub. So if you run 1 millimeter in the front of the plastic hub, run 2 millimeter of either CNC hub to match. So make sure that it's talking about these hub shims here. That goes in front and rear of the hub where it goes in the arm. This is our offset, low offset, long arm, which in the arm we're going to have a hole towards the outside of the arm. And then we're going to have our hub on the outside. Medium offset middle arm, it's going to be in the center on either. High offset short arm is going to be hole to the inside on the arm and hole to the inside on the hub. Gives a sort of explanation of what the low and long arm, low offset long arm is. You get more overall grip, more stable when cornering, calm, less responsive, maintains rear grip more easily, less rotation off power in corners, can fishtail on power more easily, and easy setting. Our high offset short arm is more initial grip, but it's more unstable when cornering. It's aggressive and more responsive. My experience with my 2024 car is it is super aggressive as it is, so I want to calm my aggressiveness down just a little bit. So like I said, I'm going to run a medium setting. It can lose rear grip suddenly mid corner. I didn't really have a problem with my other car doing that. More rotation off power in corners, grips quickly, squares up well on power, and a fast setting. I don't want to make the car to where it's too aggressive. I'm going to start with a medium setting on the car, and if it feels like I need more, I'll come back later and I'll do the adjustments to give it a little more. Off to the side here, it goes The low offset long arm setting is recommended most of the time. That's that first one I went through. We go to the medium offset middle arm setting if we need more rotation, more initial grip from the rear end, squaring up and acceleration quicker, or if the car feels good and stable but lap times are a bit slow. So the medium looks like it's going to be right up my alley to get started, and I'll dial it from there. When I'm doing something new, I like to go to a midway setting, sort of a recommended setting, and then I'll come back in and I'll adjust it as needed. Let me see here. This talks about the toe-in inserts. So I think those are for the pills on the B or the C and D blocks. Yeah, that looks like the pills on the C and D blocks. Okay, so yeah, I've already set all that up on my car. No, because my C and D blocks gave me kick up, so my toe is going to be on these pills on the arms. They're going to be behind the wheels. So yeah, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure that I add myself some toe in. Says here, outboard toe-in is a great way to add rear traction to the car without losing steering. Adding 0.5 degrees can help to lock in a rear end that slides out suddenly. Adding 1 degree is a big change and can slow the car down going in a straight line. Compared to inboard toe, you don't lose as much steering when using outboard toe-in. So with this car, when we did the C and the D blocks, let me grab that for you. I'll show that to you. So C block, I was able to adjust my kick up. In my D block, I was able to adjust my kick up. So I've got kick up on this. 0.5 on the rear and 1 on the front, I believe. So that gives me some kick up. So my toe is going to be set on the outboard. We try to run the smallest amount of inboard toe-in that is comfortable, as less toe-in is faster, and then fine-tune with outboard toe-in as needed. 0 will be the most free-rolling and fast if you can get away with it. Yeah, no. I'm going to go to a 0.5. There again, we'll start in the middle, and then we'll figure it out from there. Of course, I got to figure out if I'm doing the medium setting what my 0.5 is going to be, because it's showing the long and the short arm setup here. So I'll figure all that out. Let me see here. Then we go to the bearing inserts, which adjust your hub height. It's for 8/16 by 5, 8/16 by 5, 13/9 by 4. So I think this is going to run the larger bearing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so these are going to be the 8/16 by 5 bearings, which is going to be these larger bearings. And then we have some of these axles will actually use the smaller bearing, the 13/9 by 4. These hold up a little bit better than the larger bearings I found on track. They last a little bit longer, but if you keep up with these, you can buy a sleeve of them from like J&T Bearings or somebody, Avid. Any of the bearing manufacturers can get you this size bearing, and you can buy a sleeve of them and keep them around. That way, if you got one that's starting to not sound right or feel wrong, you can just pop them out and swap them. It's not that hard to do. It's easy to do in between races. So yeah, we got our high, our middle, and our low settings here for that. This explains how it's going to look on the axle or on the hub. It says here the stock plastic hub comes with the low axle setting. So that comes with the axle low, which raises axles down, so it raises the hub up when it's on the car. I like mine to ride a little bit lower on the axle, so I'm going to go to the middle. We're going to start with the middle, and there again, it's going to depend on how that car reacts on the track, how it drives, how it feels. I'll either go to the low or I'll go to the high. Higher rear axle, less initial grip, slides over edges mid-corner, good on edgy tracks. Softer suspension, better in bumps. Less rear support on power, less forward drive, easy setting. Our lower axle, more initial grip, less overall grip, catches edges mid-corner, and that's an issue that I have with my low setting now on the other car, is it goes through high-speed corners like a beast, but it has a bad tendency to catch and flip. So going to a mid setting will calm that down a little bit. Low rear axle is also good on smooth, loose tracks, stiffer suspension, worse on bumps, more rear support on power, more forward drive, and it's a fast setting. So there again, we'll trade the easy for the fast, or get in between the easy and the fast. We'll start with a medium setting, the middle setting, and then we will adjust from there on track. Alright, so there again, this is from our Mayako MXP Discord. This is one of the MXP option parts that comes with the LE. This is not something that everybody's seen. It's not something that you can just go onto the website and see. It's not available for anybody without a Mayako Performance sign-in. This is something that we're able to buy, and I don't know if they're going to make it available outside of NPC or not, because it's on the LE. JQ may have some new parts coming that, or he may have it to where you'll be able to get these if you've got an LE car. But yeah, anyhow, I'm going to go back to the beginning here. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to build one hub. I'm going to put it together the way the instructions say here, and then I'll build one for you guys, kind of like what I've been doing with the other stuff. Build one and then not bore y'all with building two. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to get into it, and when I come back, I'll show you one assembled, and then we'll build one. All right, be right back. All right, I'm back. So I got one of them assembled and installed on the arm already. It was a little bit more difficult than what I thought. I'm kind of glad I paused the video so I could stumble through it. All right, so we're going to put one of these together for you guys, and then we're going to install it on the car so you can see how it mounts up. Several parts, requires a little bit of work. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to set it to where I can keep an eye on it though, because I want to make sure that I do everything the same on this next one. Alright, so I'm going to start off with a hub, and I'm going to take my black top piece here. It comes with two different 2.5 millimeter screws, a long and a short. I'm not running 3 spacers in there, so I'm going to be using the short screw. That's what I use on the other side, and I had plenty of bite. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with putting the screw in the black piece here. I'm going to take 2 of my larger diameter, or not larger, the big ones go on the hub, but the medium-sized ones. I'm going to put 2 on there. And the reason why I'm going with 2 is because I'm going with the medium set on the hub. So it tells you to adjust your spacers according to your shims, according to where you're going to be setting your hub height. So I am going medium, so I don't want to put enough spacers in there for the low setting. I'm going to put it in there for the medium setting. And if I was going to the highest setting, I'd only put 1 washer in there. Alright, so got that in there with the 2 shims, 2 medium-sized shims. Alright, and next I'm going to get these 2 screws, 2 nuts, and get me 2 of these here. Alright, so I'm running the medium hub adjustment, so it's not going to be all the way out, it's not going to be all, well actually I'm running the long on the back, so my hub's going to be out. So I'm not running all the way out, I'm just running 0.5 out, so I'm only going to put 1 spacer, 1 shim on each. So we're going to put these 2 screws through here, put 1 shim here, 1 shim here, and then this is going to go on. It's going to hug all that. It's going to slide on like so. It should hug the top here. Let me get these 2 nuts started. Then I'll come in with the nut driver and the hex driver. I was doing a lot of reading and contemplating when I was putting it together, so like I said, I'm really glad that I paused the video to figure that first one out. A little bit of mathing, and I don't math very well, especially while I'm being watched. Alright, so it's going to be a 2mm and a 5.5. These are nylock nuts, so you don't have to worry about putting thread lock on them. Tighten them up pretty good. Same thing with the other screw. If you want to save a little bit of weight and you got the extra screws, you could probably go to shorter screws in here. Looks like they're sticking out about 3mm, so you could probably go with a 3mm shorter screw. So that's an M3 by 20. So you could probably go down to 18mm or 17mm if you can find those, and that'll get rid of the how much is sticking out the back there. As you can see, it's kind of sticking out pretty good. Alright, so the hub's pretty well put together. Let's find the plastic pieces. Alright, so on this one, we've got a small bearing on the outside and a large bearing on the inside. So this is the one for the large bearing on the inside. This is the one for the small bearing on the outside center. You see that one's offset, that one's offset, offset, offset. So bearing on the inside, there's a little flange in here that stops the bearing from sliding all the way into the aluminum. So we're going to push that in to the inside, and we're going to take the one for the small bearing, with the flange facing in. And we're going to push that all the way in on the outside. So it should look like that when you're done. Centers everything up. Alright, and like doing the hubs on the front, we got to figure out our spacing for our axle here. The other side, use 2 of the larges and then 1 steel shim. So that's what I'm going to do to this side. Since it worked out real well on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And that should work out. So I'm going to go ahead and slide these bearings in here, and I'm going to push the axle in, and then we'll start tightening it up. Alright, slide that bearing all the way in, slide that bearing all the way in, and we're going to push them until they bottom out. Should be able to do it by hand. You shouldn't need tools to do that. Alright, so now we're going to keep our shims on there. We're going to go through the inner bearing, go through outer bearing. Alright, and I'll look at my spacing on the inside, make sure that it's looks like it's bottomed out. That's good. We're going to take our 17mm wheel hex and a pin. We'll get the pin through. Feels like it did on the other side, so I'm happy with that. Alright, we're going to set it to where the pin is horizontal while we get our grub screw ready. It's going to be this large grub screw here, 2.5 mil. We'll make sure we put some thread locker on there. I just made a mess. We'll put that on the inside here. I'll tighten it snug that we could do by hand. I'm going to take my 17mm wheel tool and put it down on the hex. So I'm going to hold it with one hand and then tighten that 2.5 up on the inside. Alright, so now this should turn freely by hand. No drag. And I don't have any play. So yeah, that setup was the same exact as the other side. So you want to feel that. If you feel like you got drag on it, you want to add a shim. If you got play, you want to take the little steel shim out and then try it again. But if yours go together like mine, it's going to be the 2 aluminum shims, the red shims, and then 1 steel. And that feels beautiful. Alright, so that's pretty much assembled almost, and almost ready to go on the car. So on the other side, I went with a 0.5. Let's go down to that part of the sheet so I can explain what I'm doing here. Alright, so I'm going to go with a 0.5 long, which is going to be this one here. Just like building one of the old school model cars, it's got a little plastic pieces sticking off, so I've got my knife ready to go. I'm going to trim these little tabs off where I broke it off of the parts rack. I'm not going to shave it down to where it's going to affect how it fits inside the hub, but I'm shaving it down enough to where I'm getting the crap off of it. Alright, so on my other side, I'd installed it from the front, I believe. Yeah, I installed it from the front, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. So the hub's going to go this way. And the lettering's going to go to the inboard, like so. And that's going to slide all the way in till it's flush with the outside. So I've got +5 long to the outside. What that's going to do is that's going to angle my hub 0.5 degree toe in. We've already got some toe on our hubs or on our blocks after looking at it, so that's going to add 0.5 plus whatever it's set up for. Not 100% sure, so it's going to be additional toe. If you want to take toe out from what your stock is, you can actually flip it around the other way and you can dial your wheel back out straight, more straight if you want to. Okay, so we've got that insert in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our plastic here, and we're going to find our center. Because I'm running outside here, I'm going to run center here, because if I run outside and outside, my dog bone's going to be trying to walk out. So I was kind of lucky. I did this first try on the other side, and I was like, ooh, I don't want to go any further with that dog bone than that. All right, make sure a little piece of plastic sticking off that one. I can get that with the scissors. Trim that little tab off there. Sweet. Alright, and those are going to go into the arms because they're center. I'm not really just going to stick them in there. They don't matter side to side. Okay, now we've got some plastic spacers here. Too thin, too wide. I'm running my I'm going to run my hub back for a longer wheelbase. I'm not running it all the way back, but I'm running it back with 2 wides on the front and 2 thins on the back. That way I've still got some plastic shims on both sides, and it will it'll push that hub back for a little bit longer wheelbase. So I'm going to come in here like so. I'm going to take my hinge pin and move this hub out of the way right quick. I'm going to move my hinge pin part of the way through. I'm going to take my wide ones and I'm going to put them on until the hinge pin is sticking through just a little bit. I'm going to come in with my hub now. Don't really need to put the dog bone in right now. I could do that later, but I'm going to have it leaning back, so I'm going to try to... Alright, so we're going to get our hinge pin just to where it's at the edge of the hub. And then we're going to take our thin ones, and we're going to try to get them in there and get the hinge pin through the holes in both of them. A little tricky. Alright, I push that pill out, but I can put that pill on the other side and line it up in the arm and then slide it on there like so. Alright, so now we've got our 2 thicks on the front, our 2 thins on the rear, and our hinge pins all the way through. So then we're going to take a nut, I'll put it on the back side of this. Alright. And like with our front hinge pins, let's just have flat spots on the end of it. It's not a nut. And then it's going to be a 5.5 millimeter nut on the other side. We're going to tighten this bad boy up. And there again, it's nylock, so I don't have to worry about putting thread locker on it. Tighten that all the way up. Alright, now that we've done that, we're going to set our camber link inside here. So I'm going to go outside top hole. I have the nut towards the back on the other side, so I'm going to do it the same way on here. Oh, my wife is picking up my shock stuff, so I'll have a video tonight about putting the shocks on. Oh wait, I've got a washer for this. So, washer for the screw. Top outside hole goes through like that. Then a nut goes on there. And that's going to be a 2mm with a 5.5 nut. How about that? Alright, running the longer wheelbase, you'll notice that the camber rods are swooped back a little bit, but they're not hitting. They're nice and free. So if you run the hubs, what will be stock setting, which would be a big and a small spacer here and a big and a small spacer here, it would move it further forward. This would be a little bit more aligned. Not a big deal. But if you were to run it all the way back, I'd recommend flipping your camber rods to the back so it would align a little bit better. But the way this is, it's not far enough back to where it's past the center point of the tower. So if I was to flip it over, it would be the same thing, just the other way. So we'll leave it like that. Alright, now we're going to flip this thing up here. And we're going to take a grub screw, 2mm grub screw. We're going to get some thread locker on it. And we're going to run it into this hole right here. And what this does is this locks the hinge pin into the hub, like the front ones do. So your hinge pin is actually moving inside of your inserts here. And because it's moving in the plastic inserts, it has, these are thinner than this long piece of plastic here, so you're going to get less resistance here. Not just that, but they'd be super easy to change out if they wore out. You just loosen this, take your hinge pin, slide it out, replace your pills, put everything back together, and then tighten the screw back up. Done. So there you go. That is the multi-piece hubs with a setup, arms flat, and once we get everything set up, we'll set the droop and everything too once it's all on the car. So that's pretty much the back end of the car, other than the wing and the shocks. Like I said, wife picked up my shock stuff today. She's not home yet. She's picking up dinner and everything, but after she gets here, I'll get these shocks set up front and rear, show you all the VRP pistons that I got and how I'm setting them up and what shock oil I'm using. And I think I'm supposed to be racing on Sunday. Tonight's Friday night. So that'll give me tomorrow. I'll probably go by the track tomorrow, do a little bit of test and tune, and probably paint my body tomorrow. Test and tune, I'll probably use my body for my other car just for test and tune, and then I'll paint up the new body, give it a chance to dry and harden before I put it on the track. Alright, so that's the video on the hubs. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Let me look at the manual here and see where we're at next. Give it a second to load up. Is that the right one? Yeah, there we go. Alright, so there again, that was the plastic hub setup. Tells you how to do all that. We'll do the shocks later. And the next video is going to be mounting the center stuff. So All the long drawn out stuff pretty much is done. I think everything else is going to be pretty much mounting stuff on the chassis and getting everything starting to look like a RC car. So that's freaking awesome. Alright, like I said, I'm going to stop the video here, and next thing we're going to start with is the center diff assembly. Alright, talk to you guys in a minute.